This is Kaylee. I thought I would hop on really quick because I am seeing a lot of talk around the reseller community, both on YouTube, Instagram, and also the Resellers Edge group, of really slow sales happening right now, which is something that happens off and on to a lot of resellers, but it doesn't usually happen all at the same time. And I'm actually experiencing some slow sales myself on both eBay and Poshmark. And generally speaking, you know, this can be a time of the year when things really start to slow down, just because, you know, people are filing their taxes, they're waiting on their tax refunds, you know, Christmas just happened, all their money's spent, so they're just not really in a buying mood. And so sales tend to generally dip around this time of the year, but I feel like they are just abnormally slow. And I thought I would share with you guys some things that we are working on in the group, as well as in our own business, tips and tricks for you about what to do when these things happen, when sales are slow and you are kind of in a slump. So I've got 5 for you today. Let's talk about them right now. So one of the most important things, which if you take nothing else away from this video, take this one with you. But when you are starting to see a sales slump, sales are really slow, the most important thing that you can do is to remain calm and consistent. If you normally list 20 a day and you normally sell around 20 a day, but for some reason over the last couple of weeks you're only selling 10 to 15, then you know it's really easy to get in the mindset where you're just like, well, if it's not working, if it's not panning out, if I'm not seeing results, that I'm just going to stop what I'm doing because it's not worth it. But that is probably the worst thing you can do for your business. So as you go through ups and downs with reselling, one of the most important things you can do is to remain consistent. So if you're not seeing those sales results right away, stay with it. Make sure, obviously things are right, that you're listing desirable items, that your listings are correct, and that you're pricing things competitively. But if all of those things are true, try not to get discouraged and stop what you're doing, because that will catch up and sales will come back around. And if you stop now, you're going to continue experiencing slow sales. So stick with it, and I promise those sales will start to come back. Number 2 is to consider running a sale or sending out aggressive offers, just something to kind of generate sales in your store. This is something I do if, I am having a slow sales week, because you know what, we got bills to pay here. I've got employees to pay, I've got a lease to pay. So if something is generally abnormally slow, I don't do this every single time I'm having a kind of slow week, but if stuff is abnormally slow the way it is now, then I consider running a sale. I just started a sale, a markdown event for my winter items, because people are still buying winter right now. However, soon we're going to start to be selling a lot more warmer items. So I thought, you know what, I need to run a sale to generate some sales anyways. Let's go ahead and couple that with the fact that I probably want to start moving out this season's inventory. So consider running a sale or sending out some pretty aggressive offers on some things that can generate sales. Like if you, for instance, are on Poshmark and you sort by your most liked items and you go to the available section, which is something I do pretty often. If you're in a sales slump like this, consider sending out some pretty aggressive offers on your most liked items, because you're more than likely going to generate sales. And that's something I did the other day. And I think I sent out probably like my top 100 items, like most liked items on Poshmark. And I think that generated about 20 sales from those items. So is it ideal? No. Would you rather get the most for your item? Yes. But if you're in a spot where you need to start generating sales, generating activity, and also be able to pay your bills, running sales or offering aggressive offers where you can start to pick things back up can be a good idea if it's something you're comfortable with doing. Number 3 is to generate some more activity, because we know that when the platforms see activity, they give you more activity like sales and customers, and just playing that search algorithm game and trying to stay on the nice side of it by being super responsive and just, again, generating a lot of activity. So if you are getting some interest in your items, then that is a potential sale. And the more responsive you can be to that sale, answering your buyers' questions, no matter how nitpicky they are, or even if they don't, ask a question, just responding something like no problem if they said thank you, just to keep that activity generating in your store and in your closet is really going to help with staying active on the platform and showing that you're still an active seller. So be responsive, try and capture those sales with the people who are interested, and also generate some activity. Number 4 is to go ahead and take this opportunity to get some stuff done that you would normally do because you're shipping out less, not listing less, but shipping out less. And so something that I am doing with this extra time that I have, because we're not shipping out as many items, is trying to refocus seasonally and try to get a season ahead. That's something I'm really focused on right now. So I have seen a huge shift within the last couple of weeks of people starting to buy almost exclusively spring stuff, so warmer weather things. And that also might be a reason why we're experiencing slow sales, because a lot of us don't prep for that. So if most of our closet are winter items, and the only spring items that you have are from last year, which probably aren't desirable anymore, or they're just kind of stale, sitting like really low in search, that could be a reason for slow sales. So I'm using this opportunity to kind of revamp some of those spring items and also make sure that I am listing fresh listings for that spring season, because people are buying for that. I'm getting ahead for the season and spending that extra time to really call through my inventory and promote what is selling right now, which are spring items. So try to get that season ahead, and that way when sales do start to pick back up, you are going to be prepared and ready, and you're not going to be stuck in the previous season once spring hits, and not stuck with a ton of winter items. So do what you can to move out of the winter season and also jump into the spring season. And then number 5, this is not a tip that is necessarily going to generate any sales for you, but one that I feel like generates motivation and also just helps with times like these, are to, when you are feeling down in these low sales times, to try not to look at it as just the last couple of weeks. Try not to compare, oh, these past couple weeks I'm down 30% from the previous week. Try to go back. This is something I do to remind myself in times like this. Go back to your seller performance tab, or your own reports or whatever, and compare where you are at to where you were at a year ago. That is a much bigger time frame to know if you're doing something right. And it's really easy when you are in these small moments to get kind of caught up in it and think that you're not doing what you should, your business is failing, but really your business is probably fine, and your business is probably doing much better than last year, and it just feels like it's not doing great in, a window of a couple of weeks when sales are slow. So a way to encourage myself is I always go back to the eBay seller hub on the performance tab, and I select this year compared to the previous year. And I'm almost always way more motivated, because I realize that my sales are way up from the previous year, which means I am doing something right and headed in the right direction, even though it doesn't feel like it right at this time. So those are 5 tips I have for you and stuff that I do in my own business during the slow sales time. Like I said, I am experiencing incredibly low sales on both eBay and Poshmark, but we are going to steady the course. We're going to remain consistent, and I know that sales are going to pick back up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.